Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Madeline. I'm the head of sales here at ProjectWorks, and I'm very excited to get to introduce you to Jason Lowe, an innovation consultant from Solid Consulting. And he's going to run you through rapid learning cycles, which is a new way to improve your projects and make them more profitable. So with that, I will hand it over to Jason.
Thank you, Madeline. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here as well and share with you what I know about rapid learning cycles and how to make projects more profitable. So first of all, I'd just like to talk a little bit about myself. So I've had quite a broad career by design, spanning design, innovation, product development, manufacturing, and project management. And I've had worked in a range of different industries and manufacturing methods, and I now help businesses with a range of different services. So because of my broad career, I've worked in quite a range of different industries, spanning fast-moving consumer goods, pet food, impact protection, devices, skincare, wide area commercial mowing equipment, which I'll tell you a bit more about today, construction, horticulture, additive manufacturing, clean tech, compostable technology, film, sense technology. And rapid learning cycles is one of the services I help my clients with, and I can help train and coach businesses, and I'm one of only 13 people globally that is able to do this, trained and certified. So this is a bit of an overview of the webinar. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about my own experience with rapid learning cycles before becoming a consultant, and give you a bit of an introduction to the basic elements of the framework. And then I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of rapid learning cycles, in particular, how it improves decision making, how it enhances effectiveness of your teams, and how it can increase your profit margins as well. And then I'm going to leave some time at the end for any questions that you might have. So there are hundreds of businesses using rapid learning cycles around the world. Rapid learning cycles was created in 2010 by Catherine Rodica, who founded the Rapid Learning Cycles Institute, and she has been continuing to grow and improve that business over the last 12 years and improve the framework as well. And these are some of the more kind of high-profile businesses that you might have heard of that are public about their use of rapid learning cycles. So hopefully you notice a few on that slide, some pretty reputable businesses. Before becoming a rapid learning cycles consultant, I used the framework for 4 years in a full-time role at Trimax Mowing Systems. For those of you who haven't heard of Trimax before, they design and manufacture wide area commercial mowing equipment for mowing grass, so mowing parks, large areas of grass like parks, golf courses, sports fields, and agricultural environments like turf farms. On my second week at Trimax, I went on the Rapid Learning Cycles course, and Trimax and Gallagher's were two of the first businesses in New Zealand to start implementing the framework. That was back in 2016, and the course just made so much sense to us. The framework really resonated with us, so we started using it straight away, and we kicked off a project the next week using the framework. And then in the following months, we started kicking off more projects using the framework. And then it wasn't too long before we were using it across our whole R&D portfolio. Developing products, especially physical products, is hard. Hardware is hard. Changes late in development can come with big time delays, and customer needs not met in product design can fail. Manufacturing setup costs are high. Changes can kill budgets, and lead times are usually long, so any mistakes can cause delays. And managing change in a project can be time consuming. Rapid learning cycles really worked for us at Trimax because it ensured that we made correct data-driven and research-based decisions. It supported our customer-centric focus. And it gave us the ability to stay flexible with a plan that was easy to update. And it ensured better knowledge capture and encouraged better collaboration and alignment across teams. And it was a clear and easy to digest framework that was quick to learn and train other employees. So now I'm going to go into why rapid learning cycles accelerates innovation. As you know, with product development, the further you go through the process, the more expensive it is to change things. That is why it's so important to make the right decisions in a project, and that is what rapid learning cycles really helps you with. Rapid learning cycles works because it gets rid of long, slow learning cycles. To fix this, we pull learning forward and we push decisions later to maintain flexibility in the project. So you pull learning forward ahead of decisions, and by pushing decisions later in the project when they actually need to happen, you can actually change the cost of change curve by using rapid learning cycles. Long loopbacks in projects is a big contributor to a loss of margin. Reducing these loopbacks means faster time to market, better launch coordination, more confidence in your product, lower development costs, lower product costs, and fewer failures in the field. In rapid learning cycles, we capture the things we learn in all those learning cycles into an extensible knowledge library, so we can inject that knowledge into future programs. Every key decision in Knowledge Gap will have an A3 report, and they are stored in a knowledge library, so they are easily accessible for future teams and projects to utilize. At Trimax, we held a lot of knowledge. Most of this was in individuals' heads, and some was in reports. After starting our knowledge library, it only took us a few months before we started dipping back into it for knowledge, especially when it came to running highly accelerated life testing. When you have easily digestible A3 reports on all the most important knowledge that you've created in your project and have them stored in a central location that's keyword searchable, it's extremely valuable to speed up your R&D program. According to Catherine Radika's research, the first time a group goes through this process, they're up to 30% faster. But the second time, after they have a base of extensible knowledge to work with, they can go twice as fast, and they keep getting faster the more extensible knowledge they have to work with. So when it comes to project management frameworks, there's no one framework to rule them all. Different frameworks must be used for different types of projects. And a hybrid approach to managing your portfolio of projects is required if you want to increase your profit margins. Where rapid learning cycles sweet spot is projects that have a high cost of change and have a high amount of uncertainty. The framework was specifically designed for hardware product development, R&D, but it's also used for stretch research projects and also software projects that have a high cost of change. As an example, security systems and health tech software, or software where you need to make the right decisions, otherwise there is going to be a high cost of change. Most software projects have a high amount of uncertainty and a low cost of change, so Agile project management is great for those type of projects. And traditional project management is excellent for projects that have a high cost of change but a low amount of uncertainty. So if you already have a production line and you need to duplicate it, make another one, install another one, that's a low amount of uncertainty but a high cost of change. So, and also construction projects fall into that category as well. But when you have projects that have a low amount of uncertainty and a low cost of change, there's no need to overcomplicate things. Informal tools are great for this. So now I'm going to talk to you about the major elements of the framework. This is the official definition of rapid learning cycles. It is a synchronized set of learning activities to remove uncertainty, manage risk, and eliminate obstacles before key decisions need to be made within a product development program. When you kick off a project using rapid learning cycles, the first task in the kickoff event is to define a core hypothesis. The core hypothesis is the justification for doing a project. It defines your project from beginning to end, and it describes your customer need, your business value, and your new technology. It's my favorite part of the whole process because it's all about alignment. So when you start brainstorming with, you've got your core team and your key stakeholders in the room, and you start brainstorming about what are all the potential customer needs that we're trying to meet by kicking off this project, and what is the value to the business? Why are we doing this as a business? What's the value? And what are all the new technologies that we're going to either use, improve, or invent in this project? And when you list that out and debate on what are the top one or two out of each category that you're going to put into your core hypothesis to define your project, it's amazing how each person in the room has a different view on the project, and sometimes very competing priorities from different departments. And so you have these amazing debates that might not otherwise happen until weeks or months down the track. And so you're pulling that debate and then alignment forward, and you're kicking off the project in the right way, and it makes the next stages of planning the project much easier. So the core hypothesis is the reason your company believes in this product. And then you have key decisions. So then you want to define all the high impact, high unknown decisions in the project. And they must be made on time in order to complete the product development process, but the team can't make them with confidence yet. And then every key decision that you have in the project has at least one or more knowledge gaps. So that's some knowledge that you need to close in order to make a key decision. And then you have activities. Activities are tasks that you need to complete in order to close knowledge gaps. So here are a few examples. An example of a core hypothesis. The Trail Runner XT uses diesel, hybrid, and smart sensor technology that delivers a fuel-efficient, high-performing sports utility vehicle so that we get a new revenue stream for the North American market. So diesel, hybrid, and smart sensor technology is the technology. Fuel-efficient, high-performing sports utility vehicle is the customer need. And new revenue stream for the North American market is the value to the business. One example of a key decision in that project might be, what motor will we use for the production of the Trail Runner XT? An example of a knowledge gap might be, how much power is required to move the Trail Runner XT in heavy off-road use? And then you have the activities that you need to complete in order to close that knowledge gap. So not everything is a key decision. So what makes a key decision? We use this matrix to help us sort through decisions to identify what the key decisions really are. Only items in the upper right quadrant of this matrix are actually key decisions. Key decisions are high impact, high unknown solutions, and every key decision has at least one or more knowledge gaps that you need to close in order to make that key decision with confidence. In rapid learning cycles, we talk about the importance of making resilient key decisions. And so that's about making key decisions at the right time in the project, with the right people, with the best available knowledge. And if you do those things, you'll have a resilient key decision. So when we talk about the right time, we talk about the last responsible moment to make a key decision. And that is the moment on a project's timeline when a decision must be finalized to avoid major impacts on downstream partners. So an example of this might be a procurement decision or tooling. Those are a couple of examples of that where a key decision must be made on time, otherwise there's going to be downstream delays or effects. And when we talk about the right people, it's making sure that the core team and the key stakeholders get to weigh in on that key decision. So your experts, your project sponsor, and your review boards. It's important that the right people are part of this decision-making process. Rapid learning cycle structure of learning cycle events and integration events ensure that key people are part of this process at the right time. And when we talk about best available knowledge, key decisions by definition have knowledge gaps. In order to make a decision, there is knowledge that you need to close in order to make that decision with confidence. And that is what we mean by best available knowledge. So now I'm going to talk you through three key areas that you'll see benefits by using the Rapid Learning Cycles framework. So Rapid Learning Cycles improves decision making. It enhances the effectiveness of your teams, and it increases your profit margins. Rapid Learning Cycles improves decision making. So major decisions are made at the right time with the right people and the best available knowledge. It ensures research-based, data-driven decisions are made. It pulls learning forward and helps uncover issues early when they're easy to fix in the project. Getting things right the first time equals less time wasted on unproven ideas, and better decisions equals more partner confidence in R&D, resulting in a more faithful execution of the product vision. Improving decisions produces a more sustainable competitive advantage for your business as well. Rapid Learning Cycles enhances the effectiveness of your teams. It encourages better learning outcomes. By building an extensible and accessible knowledge library, you will accelerate future projects. It provides a clearly defined project structure for even the most fuzzy projects, and a time-based learning plan that is easy to understand for everyone involved in the project. The structure ensures the most important project tasks are being worked on and not just the shiny things. And it gives a clear communication and project meeting structure, which means better collaboration across teams. It also ensures better alignment between departments and better team engagement. And the project leader also has more ownership. And because of all those points, therefore, you will have a better utilization of your staff. Rapid Learning Cycles increases your profit margins. It does this by speeding up your R&D programs. And it gives you a flexible plan that's easy to update, meaning less replanning time and making your teams more organized. It ensures correct decision making, which reduces costly project loopbacks and delays. And teams adopt a mindset of timelines don't slip, which means products delivered on time. There is less wasteful activities, less trial and error, and less ineffective project meetings. Less product failures, and potential failure modes are caught early on in the process when the cost of change is low. Time savings on projects mean more time for other innovation, and better decisions equals better products, which equals more satisfied customers. The Rapid Learning Cycles services that I offer are one-day practitioner training to train your team and train across your business. Kick-off facilitating, so facilitating the kick-off of your first pilot project or any other projects beyond that. Pilot project support, and also bespoke Rapid Learning Cycles coaching. So when it comes to choosing your pilot project, I'll also help with making sure that you're choosing the right type of project for Rapid Learning Cycles, and also the right type of project for your very first project. And coaching can be quite bespoke. It can be either be lighter touch, so as an example, a video call, 1 hour video call once every a week or every 2 weeks, and then phone or email support in between. And it can be a bit more hands-on, a bit more involved. I can attend your learning cycle and integration events remotely, making sure that they're running effectively. And I can also help mentor your A3 reports to make sure that you are creating knowledge A3s that are going to be usable for future teams. And the way I look at those knowledge gap A3s is you want to write them in a way that is free from jargon and that's really easy to understand, so that someone in 5 years' time from now that's a new starter with no prior knowledge of the project can pick up a knowledge gap report and get some usable information on it. And it's not reporting just for report's sake. You're only including the most important information, and you make them really visual with photos, tables, and graphs. If you want to learn more about the framework, these are a couple of books that I'd recommend you check out. They're available online on a few different web pages. And the one I'd recommend starting with is The Shortest Distance Between You and Your New Product. You can also sign up to the Rapid Learning Cycles mailing list, and I recommend that you do so. There's some great newsletters, and you also get access to some free webinars and other resources as well, so you can keep learning about the framework. You can also download a recent case study that I've put together. If you go to my website, solidconsulting.co.nz, and click on Rapid Learning Cycles tab on the top right-hand corner, it will take you to my page about Rapid Learning Cycles, and you can download the case study from there. So the case study is on Oasis Engineering, which is part of the Aliflex group. Oasis wanted to enter the hydrogen vehicle refueling industry, and they had traditionally been involved in the automation and monitoring of high-pressure gases and liquids, like compressed natural gas. But the hydrogen industry was something that they had no prior experience with, so they needed to use a project management framework that would give them the confidence to do so. So download and have a read if you want to find out more about Rapid Learning Cycles and Oasis Engineers' experience with implementing it and the benefits that they have seen. So if you remember one thing, and one thing only today, it's about the importance of making resilient key decisions in your projects. So you want to make these key decisions at the right time. So that's the last responsible moment in your project before downstream delays or effects are going to happen. And that's with the right people. So you want your core team and your key stakeholders to all weigh in on that decision. And also, you need to have the best available knowledge. You must have closed your high priority knowledge gaps and be making that key decision with confidence. And if you do all those things, you'll have a resilient key decision that sticks. And key decisions are decisions that you need to make in the project that are high impact and high unknown. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Thanks so much, Jason. I have one question for you, and then I see some questions are already coming in the chat. So folks, you can feel free to submit questions maybe through that Q&A feature there on Zoom. So I'm just curious, Jason, if you could share a little bit about one of your favorite kind of teams that you've worked with on this. You know, don't have to name names, but kind of like a little bit of how this improved their operations and what kind of results they saw for a specific company that implemented this.
Yeah, sure. So I'll use Oasis Engineering as an example. So that's the case study business. So they already had quite a highly organized engineering team. They had implemented lean manufacturing in their factory, and really impressive facility as well. And they had already implemented other tools and techniques in their product development process, things like design thinking and other methodologies and things, but they hadn't found a framework that worked really well for managing the unknowns of product development. And so the things that they saw was the framework, by pulling learning forward and pushing decisions to later, and when you build a project, it encourages much deeper thinking about what are we really trying to achieve here, what are the decisions we need to make, and what do we need to learn in order to achieve that. So it encourages really deep thinking in the planning process. And through that and the process of focusing on learning, they're actually able to uncover issues much earlier in the project, and things that they admitted that they would actually have missed or they would not have realized until it was too late, and the cost of change curve would have meant that it was going to be really expensive for that project.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. I see a question here. What size projects benefit from this methodology the most?
Sure. So with this framework and most frameworks, especially with product development, R&D, you don't really want to kick off any more than 6 to 12 months of the project. So you want to kick off a phase of a project. I've kicked off projects where there's been 15 people involved and part of the project team, and I've kicked off projects where there've been 2 people involved in the project team. So there isn't a particular project size. It could work for a project of 1 person. It's just whether you have projects that have a high amount of uncertainty and a high cost of change. That's where it best fits. So product development, hardware, R&D, stretch research projects, and software projects that have a high cost of change are some examples there.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from folks in the audience?
And if anyone wants to reach out after the webinar, I'm more than happy to take any questions that you might have. There's my contact details there on the slides. So yeah, feel free to get in touch and download the case study if you like. And I can also email everyone copies of the slide deck as well after the presentation.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. I think we'll call it there. So yeah, thank you everyone for attending this ProjectWorks webinar about rapid learning cycles with Jason from Solid Consulting. So thank you everyone. Hope you have a good day.
Great. Thanks so much, Madeline. Cheers.
Cheers.